Everyday educators across the U.S. show up to transform student lives and strengthen their communities, yet they continue to struggle with low wages, rising costs of living, and a lack of professional respect, according to four new reports examining educator pay and school funding released by the National Education Association. The reports, which examine educator pay from pre-K through higher education, show that while some progress has been made, it's not enough to keep pace with inflation and address the long-standing teacher pay penalty. Joining us more is the Missouri NEA president, Rebecca McIntosh. How are you, Rebecca?
Good morning. I am well, thank you.
You're right. Teachers are not paid enough. So, what does a new report reveal about educator pay in Missouri?
Well, unfortunately, it is not a new report for us in Missouri. We remain 49th in the nation. Teacher compensation across the board. Our higher ed faculty remain stagnant right in the middle of the pack for 9 and 10-month contracts. Our employee support professionals, our bus drivers, our lunch ladies, our custodians, our security officers are struggling to keep up with inflation and oftentimes working more than one job just to maintain quality public schools in Missouri.
We rank 49th. That's interesting. Now, what impact has the changes on educator pay had on teacher recruitment and retention in Missouri?
It makes a hard job already harder. We have a shrinking pool of aspiring educators entering the field, and the pay disparity between starting salary and ending salary, the potential earnings over a career are just very discouraging to young people graduating, moving into the college career, and wanting to enter public education and public service as educators. It's so important to the state in terms of workforce and just our economy, and yet it's harder and harder to convince aspiring educators and students that it's a viable path to be able to support a family and create a career over time, especially with our educators of color. Our students so need to see representation, and we just don't have that. We know already in Missouri that half of the educators in front of our students are not properly trained and qualified. We're already working off the back foot. Substitute teachers, provisional certification, alternative certification, people that just don't have the training that our students deserve.
That's crazy. How does Missouri rank with per student spending?
Falling. And you know, the work that's happening in Jeff City right now is not helping that. We already know there's a $190 million deficit in the budget they're wrestling with now. The recent conversation and having Missouri weigh in on potentially eliminating income tax, the ballot measures we saw just this last election cycle, wanting to, quite frankly, fool around with property taxes. We have so much of our education budget that relies on local effort, our local communities supporting our local public schools, especially in our rural areas. And then to potentially pull that rug out, we know that we're not supporting our students in the way they deserve. We just heard this last week that the gambling and the lottery revenue is not coming in. We've built our public education system on all of these shifting sands, and it's just not predictable. I keep going back to it. Our students deserve better. They deserve better than what we're providing them right now.
What were the other significant findings from the NEA report?
Some of the ones that stick out to me is the continuing struggle that we have in Missouri to keep up with our neighbors. The 7 states that surround Missouri have made some real investment over time. They have put some effort and some study at the legislative level into investment. They see our surrounding neighbor states see the impact that a good quality public education system have on workforce development, on the economy, just in a very transactional, monetary investment. They've made that realization, and over time, the past few years, they have invested and made that a priority in their state budgets. We're not seeing that in Missouri, and I think over time, we're going to continue to see us remain stagnant at the bottom of and it's not just teacher salary. It is the student investment. Like you just said, it's creating the career and workforce development at the end when students graduate. The opportunities that are available for our students that will keep them working and investing in Missouri. We see teachers moving, we see our graduates moving out of state into neighboring states that can provide them a quality of life and a potential to support a family or a lifetime career that Missouri just can't offer. The pay equity between a beginning teacher and a career teacher, between your first year teaching at a minimum salary around 40, and then to know that especially in outstate Missouri, that you're going to end your career 25 years later at just 60,000. That's not sustainable on one income. That's not a long-term career investment that so many things. And again, I go back to the rural Missouri, our small communities that depend on their public schools. They're often the largest employer in the district. That's just not sustainable over time. And so I regret that for our potential educators, because it is the greatest job in the world. It is the most important job in the world. It creates all the other jobs in our world. And I just wish again and again that we could get politicians in Jefferson City to see that and really make the true investment, to see if they can't do the right thing for students right up front, do it for the economy, do it for workforce, do it for the state. But for whatever reason, we are long, long overdue for that investment and true public support for our public schools.
Especially being 49th. Where can our viewers go for more information?
The report's available online. You can go to mnea.org and find that information, to look at, drill down. We have additional resources there if you want to see your local district. DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, also has that available. And I would encourage people to just go and find out what's happening in your district and then go speak up at a board meeting. And then, of course, all of the reports are available at nea.org. For some analysis to compare how we are around our neighbors. The information's out there. I encourage you to engage with your local school. Walk down the street and go in and talk to see what the needs are, and what the impacts are on what's coming out of the work in Jeff City and your local tax rates and things that are happening locally.
This speaking of Missouri NEA President Rebecca McIntosh. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us. One last question for you is this. You're talking about the public school systems. What about our secondary schools, the universities and the community colleges?
Oh, higher ed in Missouri it's so important. It's so important. You look at our four-year institutions, our four-year public institutions are right in the middle of the national rankings. They do such a good job with the resources they have. Our two-year community colleges that fill such an important gap for us tend to fluctuate a little bit. And you got to remember that so many of those faculty members are adjunct, or they're part-time, or they're on short-term contracts. And so those don't even reflect. Our HBCUs, our historically Black college and universities, struggle. Oh, we're at the bottom of the list on those, and they so deserve our support. I hate to see the hits that they continue to take, because they do serve such an important role for our kids after graduation, as well as the economy and workforce for the state.
Speaking of HBCUs, I went to Lincoln University in Jefferson City, and I'm a product of that. Yeah, definitely.
What a beautiful campus. We are good partners with Lincoln at MNEA. A beautiful campus. So many resources for students that I wish more people knew about.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Rebecca, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Thank you for the opportunity.